I'm Carrie.
I'm Tony, and we are
Two Cranky Creatives.
Thank you for listening. And remember, if you're impatient, allergic to ads, or just want to support our cranky little corner of the podcast world, join the Cranky Club. Subscribers get ad-free episodes and early access. Yep, a whole week early. Hit subscribe and join the club.
Okay, fellow cranks, we're not the only ones with a pocket full of pet peeves. Back in 2016, our friends at True Grit Texture Supply got so tired of trying to create world-class work with generic low-res tools, they set about making it their mission to change the game, and they did.
Since then, they've been releasing a steady stream of pro-quality brushes, tools, and texture effects designed to save you stupid amounts of time and elevate the quality of your work. If you're an illustrator or designer who wants more for their creativity than whatever default your software can crank out, True Grit has you covered with everything from ultra-realistic pens and markers to beautifully tactile risograph effects.
So seriously, you guys, I get so much mileage out of True Grit's brushes. I used their brushes for my entire Meowsterpieces of Kiterature collection, which had to look and feel like vintage book covers, and their tools really delivered. True Grit gave my art that human vintage feel that is really impossible to fake. So it had heart and authenticity. Head over to truegrittexturesupply.com and use the code CRANKY for 20% off your new favorite tools.
So what are we cranky about today, Hannah?
Well, taxes. Although to be honest with you, my brand is so different from that. It's like bring in the sunlight.
I know. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So listeners, we are once again here with friend of the show, Hannah Cole from
Yay!
Sunlight Tax.
Yay.
Hannah, would you briefly introduce yourselves again to our listeners?
Sure. Thank you so much. I am an artist first, and also a tax pro. And I'm the founder of Sunlight Tax. I do what I do basically because I was so pissed off. I was very cranky about how I got treated as an artist when I was trying to do my own taxes, as a professional. And I was treated like some kind of flaky dilettante. And I was like, I'm a professional. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really my mission to bring clear information to creative people so that we can protect our businesses and get all the good stuff that is inside of taxes, which is real. It's not a joke. There's good stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much both for your book that I have to admit I haven't bought it yet, but it's on my to buy list. I'm still using the dreaded, Intuit to do my taxes, but but also your podcast, and even just so you were episode 3 of our first season, and even just that education that I got, I was immediately like telling my husband, who is also a solopreneur in his business, and like your advice, like immediately just from properly understanding what you're supposed to be reporting on when you do quarterly taxes, saved him thousands, like immediately, because he was reporting on revenue, not profit. So, so like immediately.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy that we stopped that.
Yeah. And then even just like a couple weeks ago, because he reports mileage in his business. I don't, but he does. And so I was like, did you take a picture of your odometer? Because Hannah says you need to be able to show that your mileage is less than your overall mileage. He was like, no, I didn't do that. I was like, go do that.
I love it. It makes me so happy.
So I have to thank you immediately, because it's huge, those thousands of dollars won't mean much to a company like Amazon, but to a solopreneur, that's huge. So Thank you.
And Hannah, also thank you, because I've been using TurboTax as a small business owner and freelancer for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And because of your advice in general, your podcast, and just all of the wisdom that I've kind of gleaned from you this year, I finally hired a CPA.
Good. All right. Big move.
Yeah. And I was like, well, should I hire Hannah? My CPA is in the same state that I'm in, and she knows my attorney. They're like friends. So I'm like, oh, well, and they're all in the same state as me, which is Georgia. So I'm like, well, I can just have this as like a little team that's like the Georgia business power team or whatever.
Pretty great. No, I have no qualms with that. That's awesome. I'm so happy you did that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be worth it because I worry about getting audited. Hopefully I won't ever because I do everything by the book and I'm very careful and I don't lie or anything. But I just think about if I did get audited, what would I do? And I just don't. I've called TurboTax before and it's like 1-800 blah, blah. You get someone who doesn't. And I'm like, I need to be able to make a phone call to like, I'm so old. I want to make a phone call to a person, the same person, a human being, but the same one every time and be like, what do I do about this? So thank you for your advice. I think it's going to be worth it.
I'm so happy to hear that. Also, I love to just get things done, and a phone call is so quick. You know, you're like messaging with somebody. There's so many times I'm like, can I just call you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will tell you, I was so frustrated with TurboTax this time. I think I referred to the help more than I ever have before, and I said, "This is the last. This is it." And so I immediately went and was like, "Where's Hannah's book? Because next year I'm not doing this shit."
Yeah,
my husband has a CPA. My business, that's an expense. I'm not quite confident, but I heard I having you in my head about all the reasons why you should have a tax professional. So it's it's on the hashtag goals list. So
I love it. I love it. I'm curious what the experience was on TurboTax. Like, were you? I mean, because I don't use it. So were you? What was giving you trouble? What was feeling complicated?
Well,
that you want to share with all of your listeners.
No, I don't have it was more just like, it'll be like, do these situations apply to you? And then it's like using language. I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? And then like you go and look and like the definitions are like, well, here are a couple of examples. And I'm like, well, that's not an exhaustive list of examples. So how do I know if this truly applies to me or not? And then the same thing with like how to categorize your business expenses, because they have specific definitions or groupings that they're doing. And I have always tried to track, and I am OCD about tracking my expenses, but I've always tried to track them relatively in those same categories while at the same time matching my brain. And it was just like, it just felt more confusing because I've used them for years to do business taxes, but it just felt like all the language was written so much more obscurely that I was like, I feel like you rewrote your help documentation and made it worse.
I think they did. I think they did because I had the same problem. That's why I left. Because for years I've been doing TurboTax and I felt pretty confident. And yes, this year I did hire an assistant. And yes, this year, I am like 1099ing people, but like up until now, I felt like pretty confident with their definitions. And I think TurboTax must have recently gone to more of a one size fits all kind of thing and then if you ask for help, I did ask for help and I got a tax quote unquote expert on the phone and they were giving me, it felt like they were reading a script, which is why I left. And I don't know if, and maybe Hannah, you can help us with this, because there have been so many recent changes in tax laws and the big, beautiful bill and all of the things that have happened in, the last 6 months or so. Maybe TurboTax hasn't really kept up. So that's why they're just kind of giving you like these canned answers, but I don't know.
I'm curious. I mean, I'm happy to speculate with you here. So let's just take a little trip down speculation road.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think, so the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, and by the way, I'm happy to tell your listeners what new deductions there are this year, what to look out for this year.
Please do, yeah.
Okay, so bookmark on that. But I think while there is a fair amount, like more than an average year, tax updates happen every year. This is not like some big surprise for TurboTax. And I suspect maybe that they are doing like a market shift, or that they're trying to push people in a certain direction. I mean, they're almost definitely doing that. But I wonder if they have used AI to rewrite a bunch of their scripts, and that because AI, to save work, because I would say, now, that I hate Intuit, and I think it's, it's legal corruption that they they pay our reps to prevent,
Yeah.
I'm a little scared of being sued, so maybe I'll just say their lobbying has some consequences for all of us that I don't like. I'll leave it there, and I'll tell you to go look it up on ProPublica to find the fact checked reporting. But I suspect maybe that they used AI, and that because AI just draws from all the terrible writing that the internet has to offer, that it's just terrible. I mean, especially in accounting, where it's like, a lot of what it's drawing from is maybe not terrible in the sense of being inaccurate, but terrible in the sense of being written in the language of accountants to accountants, which is not like layperson facing language. Accountants might talk to each other in like numbers, form names and numbers, but like who amongst us, even with the most basic parts of that, is like, when I say, oh, well, did you fill out a W-4 or a W-9? Like, does that mean anything to you?
Right. No, exactly. And I am willing to hang my hat on the speculation that AI was involved in some way, shape, or form. Everybody seems to be infusing it into their products to the detriment of us all. It's just, even in the work I do in the tech industry, a lot of the big vendors that we work with are all of a sudden they're like hyping these new AI assistants, and I'm just like, please no, just please no.
Yeah.
But
and you know what? It's outdated too.
I find it really interesting that they have actually really changed their messaging though to people, people who are potential clients. Last year, 1 year ago, the messaging of all the tax companies was like, we have a new AI tool. Remember, like when AI was a little brighter and shinier, and before we all realized it was going to ruin our lives, it was like, we have a new AI tool. And then there was like this little disclaimer that says, this might hallucinate and be completely inaccurate. You can't rely on anything this says.
Exactly.
And then, but you've paid for this software. You feel like, well, it's in my tax software. I should be able to use it. And then there's like reporters screenshotting it, telling people crazy shit. And I think they got that away from people as quickly as they could. They ripped that out. And I noticed, because it was so prominent last year, the AI stuff, that this year they just 180'd on their messaging. And now there are commercials, because my husband's a football fan and they're always advertising in football games. Their advertising is all about human, like talk to a human. Like they're actually trying to sort of, I think that they actually are using a lot of AI, and that's why I think the language is shitty, but they're actually messaging to you, the other
use
part,
a human.
Like,
but pay us $145 for the privilege of talking.
Oh no, it's more than that. I paid more than that. I paid $275 plus a filing fee last year. And by the way, I have seen those commercials too, Hannah. They're all over, not just football.
But even then, right at the very end with, because like in previous years, I've always said, just take the fee right out of any money I'm getting back if I didn't have to pay. And in this year, I was like, I can't even understand what you're taking. It seems like you're charging me extra money. Like there's extra fees, and not just the fee I agreed to because I have a business. And so I was just like, fuck it. I'm just paying the fee. So that I'm not like, because all this other extra stuff that I can't figure out if you're trying to charge me or not. And I'm a tech savvy person.
Me too. I know. I couldn't figure that out either.
This is it for me.
By the way, I agree. I agree with your speculation as well. I would not be surprised, because a lot of the language that I saw was it wasn't like the flowery AI language, but it definitely was reminiscent of that. Also, the other problem, if they're using AI, isn't most of that information outdated from the past?
Not necessarily.
No? Okay.
It depends
Yeah,
on where they're getting. It depends on what they're feeding their LLM. So,
Okay.
and that's the thing about all AI is it is dependent on what they have fed the LLM, and more than likely, and and if anybody from Intuit listens to this fucking podcast, we're not saying it's what you did. We're saying it's how we are perceiving it. We don't know. Please don't sue us.
It's just what it looks like.
Yeah,
Right.
we
could be wrong.
Right. The thing I can tell you unequivocally is that it is written in such a way to either force you to take on the payment of talking to an individual or to just fucking confuse you in general. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, let's move forward.
Yeah.
So, here, one thing, we did do an entire episode 3 of season 1, where we kind of walked through all of the basics, critical information as a solopreneur or entrepreneur in the creative space that you should know about your taxes. So I don't want us to necessarily regurgitate that. What I was really interested in delving into, and I can't stand calling it the big beautiful bill because I think it's a piece of trash.
Yeah.
So if I have to refer to it, I refer to it as the triple B, which I think I stole from you, Hannah.
Love it. Triple B works for me.
Yeah.
But so the triple B comes with lots of changes that are my brain can't keep straight. So I was curious, Hannah, like, you being an artist and a tax professional, kind of like, what is significant in that we should be paying attention to?
Yeah. Well, let's go high level, which is depressing. I'm just going to warn you. We'll go high level and talk about the damage it's doing. And then we can talk about the sort of sugar high that it gives people this year in 2025. Because this is how they write bills like this, where they, especially ones like this one, that really the main point of the bill is to give a lot of money to wealthy people, frankly, at the expense of the healthcare of lower income people, and social safety net items that we all care about. So they give a little sugar rush at the beginning to make you feel like you like it. And they make sure that you know it was this tax bill that did it for you. And these legislators, this Republican Congress and this president. And then they fuck you a couple years down the road. But the problem is, like, I think that they just think like American attention span is about 3 months. At least that's what the Bush administration determined, was Americans don't have a memory that goes past 3 months. So if you just make the bad stuff hit more than 3 months away, no one will ever remember that this is what made that happen. So high level, this bill, the main point of it, the main thrust, the just enormous dollar amount and percentage amounts are going to people who have an income, individuals with incomes over $500,000. Okay. That's the main work of this bill. That is what it does. There's no objective way to say anything different from that. It does also, in doing that, like, some of the ways that it does that are by making Medicaid rules become so red tapey and onerous that people are going to essentially get kicked off of Medicaid simply because they can't keep up with the paperwork. That's by design. We think it will be about 14 million people who will lose their health coverage because of that. And that's so rich people can have more caviar on their private jets, just FYI.
Yay! Right. Totally worth it.
Hope you're enjoying it up there.
Right.
I put sugar in your gas tank.
You probably put caviar in there to hopefully do the same thing.
So that's really the big thing. And it also, it really expands the deficit dramatically. There's no way, if you, this whole thing that Republicans are fiscally conservative has been not true for a long time, but there is no way to look at this legislation and this bill and be like, those are the responsible people.
Right.
It's just, you cannot.
Right.
But, and just to be a little bit into the politics of it, I mean, I think strategy wise, there is some thinking. I'm not saying that this is what every person who voted for this bill was thinking, but there is strategy going on the right, which is smart, which is that you can aim higher than, don't fight it out on the ground level issues, fight it out way up here where people don't notice. So what they can do is just expand the deficits so it's so huge. And George W. Bush did this first by going to war and cutting taxes at the same time, something traditionally we did not do in the United States.
Yeah.
We recognize that wars are expensive, and we didn't also give tax cuts at the same time.
Right.
So he was the first budget exploder. What you do is you expand the deficit, and then what it means is you don't have to fight it out and say, oh, let's cut healthcare, let's cut social safety, let's cut those things. You don't have to look like a jerk saying those things. You just say, oh, we're fiscally responsible. Look at our deficit. It's the responsible thing to do is to, cut those things because look at that deficit. Oh, I caused that.
Right.
I knowingly made that deficit 10 years ago, but 10 years is, we assume you forget everything. So anyway,
Right. Yeah.
That's a little side trip down politic road.
Yeah, there's so much to that though, because I think in conjunction with like that kind of like political manipulation, you also have this like deterring, what am I trying to say? Like our populace is not as informed as it used to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there was a time where people understood how the debt ceiling actually worked. And now you have like politicians like, I refuse to raise the debt ceiling. And it's like, do you even know how that fucking works? Like, how could you even come out of your fucking mouth with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, and so those two things are going hand in hand to allow this like circus to happen.
Yeah.
So.
When in doubt, if you want to pull one over on somebody, just confuse them. I mean, that's like government destabilization 101. Other governments do it too. It's like, let's just, if we want to do bad things or we want to do things that are going to hurt the populace, let's just confuse everybody, and that way we're not, pardon?
Flood the zone.
Right. Yes. Yep. And that's what's
exactly. Yeah. All right, but we stopped you on your trail of devastation. So.
Trail of devastation. Yeah. So I mean, I think maybe one of the points that I want to make, and then we can move on to yes, the deductions that you do get this year. That's the sugar high part of it. Well, meanwhile, in 10 years, we won't be able to spend a dime on healthcare in this country because the deficit will be so big that our, debt service on the debt payments, which are already pretty close to the same amount that we pay the U.S. military.
Oh my God.
The little bit of room that we have for discretionary spending is going to just get shrunk to nothing. So I would be particularly angry if I were in younger generations. I mean, I'm like the last of the Gen Xers. I'm sort of borderline millennial Gen X. If I were a millennial, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and I have daughters. So, I mean, I care about young people without having children, but I also do have children. Yeah. I'd be so pissed. I just would be. And I what I wish for the younger generations is that we take that angry energy and put it where it moves the needle, which is in political action. Posting on social media is not political action. You have to actually call senators and you have to actually organize campaigns. It's like, it is kind of slightly boring, slightly hard work that needs to be done. But anyway, the younger generations, I think, are who are getting really devastated here because there's not going to be a dollar to spend on housing affordability programs and healthcare and the things, affordability is obviously what's on everyone's mind.
Yeah.
And there are things that you can do to fix that. The GI Bill, we have done these things before. These are not impossible things. We're the richest nation on the earth. Why do we not have universal health care and parental leave that other countries with less money than us do? These are choices, right? And so I think people get really cranky over paying their taxes. And, I do believe in following the law, but I think laws should be fair, and ensuring that laws are fair requires like civic engagement. You have to do that other side. Taxes are the mandatory civic engagement, the one you don't have a choice about, but it does entitle you to make some noise and be listened to. So,
Yeah.
making
Yeah,
our voice heard by our members of Congress is critical.
100%. And, I have become a lot more active in that regard myself. But, the thing that I think is really interesting, I am also Gen X. And I remember, what am I trying to say? Like I see a lot of full circle things happening. So like my daughter was born by emergency C-section, and she was less than a year old when I got a letter from Blue Cross, who was my insurance at that point in time, that said, by the way, because you had a C-section, we will never cover that again. So you better hope all your births going forward are vaginal. Now, obviously, I am paraphrasing. They basically, I got a letter saying we won't cover another C-section. I did.
Wow.
Legit. 2001.
And of course, if you know anything about having babies,
right?
If you have a C-section, it means your next birth is gonna be a C-section.
Right. More than likely.
More than likely.
Wow. You can attempt vaginal birth, but you're more than likely going to end up with another
kill
C-section.
you though, right?
You could die.
In the moment, right? And in the moment, what are you going to do? Hey, wait, doctor, excuse me, my insurance isn't going to cover this, so let's go ahead and gamble with my life and the baby's life. Fun.
So it was being treated like a pre-existing condition. I also have medical conditions. So when Obama and, the ACA came around and all of a sudden they couldn't exclude you, because one of the reasons, and I've never shared this, everybody knows I keep a full-time job, but one of the reasons I've kept that full-time job is they can't exclude me on a group plan. Right. Yeah. So it was really interesting to me. My company is based in California. I'm in Kansas. My boss is very, very good about getting me as the best coverage he can, but he's also very open with me about how difficult that is for him because his company is in California and I am in Kansas. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I really think you should explore the marketplace and see if you can get a better deal than what we're getting for you. And so I tried to do that 2 years ago. And what's no longer a mandate? Pre-existing conditions. And and so the broker was like, I can't cover you. I can't get you coverage. Like to match what you have, I can't even get you coverage because you have a pre-existing condition. And so does my husband now because my husband had a heart attack. And so here we are back again, right? Where it's like I'm stuck into a group plan. But also this year, the rates went up so much that I ended up taking a plan that was not ideal. Yeah. Because I was like, I can't take the hit. That even through a group plan. And so, and where I'm really going with this is you have this kind of like middle of the road person who's relatively healthy, really, like doesn't sit on either side of the spectrum. They're just kind of in the middle of everything and they don't feel these effects. Right. But like even at where I sit in our class and wealth spectrum, which I am by no means wealthy, take yourself away from the norm even a little bit and you're feeling those hits, right? And so many of us in this industry are self-employed, which means you're probably paying completely out of pocket for your premium, right?
Yeah. Or you're stuck doing self-pay for everything individually, which is just insanity. But if you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. So yeah.
I mean, just to also like mention, it's really easy to just rag on bad governance, and we're certainly experiencing some of it right now. But the government can do good. It can do the right thing, and there are really solid examples in U.S. history where we have done really incredible things. Like Obamacare was a big deal, and that pre-existing condition thing is a huge deal and very important. And as you get old, it is almost impossible not to have some health thing come up. Eventually, everyone will have a pre-existing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But you were getting to the sugar high of it all, Hannah.
Yeah. Tell us about, let's talk. Let's uplift our listeners a little bit. And talk about what are the things Jolly Ranchers. I know, right?
Sure. Okay. So there are 4 new, let me grab my papers here.
Okay.
All right. There's 4 new deductions that you'll get this year. Could that be timed to hit you and come into your paycheck right before the midterm elections? Oh,
Hmm.
possible. That's possible.
I'm sure gas prices are going to go down soon too.
Oh yeah.
So there is a new tax form. You don't, people get all worried about this stuff. It's not really a thing you have to worry about, because as you enter your information into your tax software or answer the questions on your accountant's tax organizer, it will capture the info it needs for this to happen for you. So it's not like you have to actively know that there's a new tax form or you're going to miss the deductions. Frankly, this new tax form got put in there so that it pulls out all the sugar high pieces and attributes them to this tax bill. So you're thinking, oh, this tax bill saved me $1,000 this year. It must be good. Like that's anyway. So it's called the Schedule 1A if you want to look at it. So what it does is it shows you the 4 deductions that happen this year. One is no tax on tips. One is no tax on overtime. One is no tax on car loan interest, and the other is an enhanced deduction for seniors. So we can dig in if you want to know the details about those, but those are the 4 deductions that are new this year. There's also an additional, I'm going to say, even though I hate the name of it, I think it's a good idea. These new things called a Trump account. Which is actually like, I found it quite surprising that this was in the bill. It's something that, progressives have floated. It's not like it doesn't need to be partisan at all. It's, of course, that title makes it feel pretty partisan, but a Trump account is it's kind of a new pilot program to essentially create accounts for new babies. I think it's trying to encourage people to have kids. But it's for kids born in 2025, 2026, 2027, and 2028. That's not a huge group of people. But for babies born in that period, they can have an account that sort of operates similarly to like an IRA. It's a tax advantaged account, but there's a lot of question marks about how it's going to work. A lot is new. Apparently, there's actually some stuff I think is really actually great about them, where the money has to be invested in low-cost index funds. That's how everybody should be investing anyway, by the way, but that's not individual financial advice. I can't give financial advice, and I'm not.
Yeah.
But it mandates this thing that's basically good practice anyway, so that it's not all eaten up in fees. And so the thing that, could benefit a couple of your listeners if they're in the right slice of the demographic is that filling out this new form called a 4547, filling out this new form this year, you can elect to open a Trump account. You don't get one unless you elect it for your baby, for your kiddo, if you have a baby born in 2025. You can also make a second election to have $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury just put in. So
wait, separately? Oh, you mean as part of the Trump account?
It's a separate election. You elect to open the account, and you can also elect, but you don't have to get $1,000 put into it, like for free from the government.
Why are you opening the account if you're not going to take the $1,000 though? Like, why? That just seems shady to me. Like, they're like, because you could forget to check off that you want the money, and then you've got the account but no money.
Well, also,
it is your job to put money in.
Do you have to prove you have a baby?
The government doesn't fund your IRA. That is your job. They give you the account. I mean, I think that is generally how it works. So,
right. No, I get you. My point is I can open up an account on my own all day, every day. Why would I go through this 4, 5, 4, 7 process unless I'm going to fucking ask for the $1,000 too?
Yes.
Yeah. And what proof do they need that you had a baby? Like, I don't have any babies. I don't plan. I'm in menopause. I'm postmenopausal, so I'm not having any babies.
My grandchildren are all
what do they
old.
need? Like a photo? Like, can I get an AI generated baby photo?
I gotta imagine there's a Social Security out there somewhere, because you have to get a Social Security number for your baby. So
there's
number is required. Yeah.
So you have
yeah.
to actually physically have a real baby to get that money. then.
In fact, you have to have a
I'm just making sure.
yeah, exactly.
Free money, man. I'm not going to leave it laying around.
Well,
out there.
I mean,
All right.
legitimately, I think I'm with Hannah. Like, if you had a baby, get the grant. I mean,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
seriously, absolutely
Yeah.
get that money. You know,
We're going to need
they,
it.
they should do that for health saving accounts since they're fucking up our insurance all day long. Give me a free $1,000 in an HSA.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and invest that shit.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. You know, that did so right before you got on, Hannah, Carrie and I were talking about something because this is a real situation. Happened to me today. I filed my taxes Saturday.
Wow,
Today.
you are so ahead of the game. Wow.
I am like OCD because here's the thing. If I'm getting money back, I want that fucking money. So
Yeah.
like I have everything. And like Hannah, I've been following your advice. I've got the receipts file. And as soon as I buy something, it goes right over there. I mean, like everything. So I actually filed my taxes faster this year than ever before. But so I did. I filed them Saturday. And today, by email, I got a notice that I sold a very small amount of stocks because I just wanted to close out the account.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about it. And I did not have this tax document in hand because I got notified about it today in February.
Yeah.
What do I have to do? Because I did not I'm sure I have to do something now because I didn't report that.
You do, but it's not so terrible. So, okay, cool. I can pull out a little, like, very seldom known little piece of tax trivia for you. So you're gonna, first of all, just for everybody who ever has investment income, which is what that is, that's a capital gains piece of income. Your brokerage statement, like the reporting on those, it's not even due to you till like March. I forget what the date is, but it's really late. So usually people with investment income are forced to wait to file their taxes. They can't be as early as you. I am one of these people, and there's no way I could file this early because I'm just always waiting on fidelity. It's like, but hey, you know what? Girlfriend has money in stocks, and I'm feeling really good about that.
You should.
But so actually, a really little interesting piece of trivia: you can file an amended return. If you file an amended tax return before the tax deadline, it supersedes the existing return, so it actually becomes your tax return.
Oh, okay. But you don't have to start all over again from scratch. Is there like one form?
You just have to add it to the amendment.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I figured it was something like that. I was so pissed because like stock, like any stocks I have are part of like IRA, whatever. And I just had a couple years ago bought a couple stocks. I mean, it's like, we're talking like minuscule amount of money. Yeah. And I was reminded of it. And then I was like, oh, let me just close this out. Right. I don't even want to deal with this. I'm not going to pay attention to it. And then I forgot about it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a question for you, Hannah. So we're recording this on, it's going to be obviously airing way later, but Wednesday, February 4th. And, all of the companies that you would get a normal 1099 from, like a 1099 MISC, which would be whether it's royalties or I forget what the other income category is, they are supposed to send you your 1099s by January 31st. Yesterday on February 3rd, via email, I received my Spoonflower 1099 MISC. So I have not filed my taxes because I am OCD too, but I think maybe I'm pale in comparison to Tony because I don't think I've ever done them this early. So it's fine because I can just add it to my taxes. And honestly, I don't care because I hadn't filed my taxes. But what is the deal? Because this is not the only time, and I'm not going to blame Spoonflower for this because I have several from other companies that I haven't gotten and they're coming electronically. So we can't blame the mail on this. But I have some freelance clients as well that I know are issuing them to me electronically, and I haven't gotten them yet. So what do we do about this kind of situation? Wait?
Yeah. Well, I like a wait harass combo.
Okay.
Yeah. You
All
have
right.
to wait. You don't have any choice because
Yeah.
it's not you who's issuing it. But
Right.
a little harassment in there, a little prodding, like, hey, I need this. I'm trying to file my taxes. This form is late. There are
Yeah.
penalties for you. Like,
Yeah.
let's get on it.
And now,
A word from our sponsors. Hey, Carrie, let's talk about the Art Brand Alliance for a second, yeah?
great idea. They are sponsoring this episode, and we both just happen to be members. So let's do it.
So, the Art Brand Alliance is a professional network for entrepreneurial visual artists like us, and probably like you if you're listening to this podcast.
It is the place to go deeper on the kinds of conversations we have here, the business side of art, the stuff that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, it's a private member space where we connect through discussion forums, live events, a library of replays, and in depth resources on things like copyright and license agreements.
Totally. It is a place to get and share uncensored, unfiltered advice with others who are actually doing the work. No gurus, no hype, just working artists talking honestly about money, contracts, licensing, pricing, all of it.
If you've ever listened to our show and thought, I wish there was a place to keep this conversation going, that is basically what the Art Brand Alliance is.
You should learn more right now about membership at artbrandalliance.com. We will link it in the show notes.
Thanks to the Art Brand Alliance for supporting the show and for supporting artists to build sustainable creative careers. I know that I personally have found it incredibly valuable.
And I have too. I am really happy that I'm a member. All right, let's be real for a second. The internet is absolutely drowning in AI slop right now. AI generated sameness is literally everywhere you look. If you're trying to stand out as an actual artist, it helps if your work absolutely screams, a human made this. And that's where our friends at True Grit Texture Supply come in.
Their professionally crafted brushes, tools, and effects give your digital work that handmade, tactile quality that AI can't fake. Think natural paper grain, real risograph texture, and organic line work with the kind of imperfections that prove someone with taste and a love of the craft was behind it. So real quick, this is Tony, and I have to tell you, I use True Grit's brushes and I love them. My favorite go-to is the Rusty Nib pack, and the texture that it gives my work is just amazing. Highly recommend.
Why not give your work an unfair advantage? Head over to truegrittexturesupply.com and use the code CRANKY for 20% off your new favorite tools.
And now,
back to the show.
You know, it's hard. 1099s are tricky. Like, they're where a lot of problems come because, you know, it's people like us filing them, people who don't necessarily know the rules. I guess I'm not going to include myself in someone who doesn't know the rules, but a lot of, like, you know, just small business owners who, like, they're like, oh shit, oh, the deadline for that passed. Oh, I guess I'll do it now, which is literally what you're describing to me has been happening to you.
Yeah.
Apparently even large companies like perhaps Spoonflower, I don't know what happened there on their end, and I'm sure they're lovely people, but
oh, they're wonderful. Yeah. And
yeah.
I don't fault them because they're not the only one. And this is not the first time this has happened. And I've had major companies that I've worked with that have done this for years. This is not new either. And I always just looked at it like, I better not file my taxes too early because, you know, I don't. And I also know which ones I'm waiting on. So I have a spreadsheet and then I have a little row and it says Spoonflower, Skillshare, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then I know, okay, I'm waiting on a 1099 from that, so I can't file yet.
Yeah.
Right.
So I know who they're, you know, what I'm getting from who. But you know what? Again, they're not the only one that did that even this year. So I don't know if, you know, and maybe they did send them to some people before I got mine. But yeah, so you just have to wait. Okay.
Yeah. So this is me speculating.
Okay.
But companies like Spoonflower and stuff like that, like there was a huge like Amazon outage for Amazon Web Services that so many of these companies are hosted on. And so like it makes me wonder if maybe they had a disruption Like, or that, so many people in business are using things like QuickBooks and stuff like that as their accounting software. Like, but like if this, like the internet disruptions
And
impacted their
Cloudflare
ability.
too.
Yeah.
Cloudflare
You
was down again today for like 15 minutes. Yeah.
But so like, and that's one of, and again, that's pure speculation. I would have no way of knowing, but if you're saying multiple companies are late, that represents a trend. And so what would be the linking factor of these disparate companies, right? Other than potentially they're all, what are they hosting their infrastructure on?
Right. Yeah, because it should be I believe it's automated, I would think. So
not necessarily. I know like your average city municipality must manually run the process that creates the 1099s, spit them out, and then get them into the mail.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because like that's what I do is enterprise level financial software for cities and municipalities. So it is not automated. You are physically making it happen, spitting it out, and then getting them in the mail. So,
Wow.
And that's with modern software.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why am I not surprised?
You don't want to get into the horrors of the average technology infrastructure of our local governments in this country.
Oh, yeah. I don't, but I know where we would go with that. Yeah.
Okay. So, Hannah, I know we want to be very respectful of your time, but we talked about the new deductions. We did a little polite, frightening education of the realities. What is there anything else that you really think like, hey, you need to know this is going to impact you big, or anything like that?
Yeah. I think my biggest things about what's going to impact you that I want to get out there are pretty evergreen. They're not related to the tax bill. So I would say for creative people, creative entrepreneurs, if you're running a business and making money through self-employment, quarterly taxes apply to you. They are real. You have to pay them. And it's not to punish you. It's actually to make your tax bill not be so frightening, and to make sure that you're paying it incrementally through the year so that you don't end up with a full annual tax bill. And believe me, I have been the one having to deliver the news to people that they have an $80,000 tax bill. And that can be a life-changing moment, right? That can be a moment where you're like, I thought I did well this year, and you did. You don't owe taxes that high unless you did very well, but it can turn a good year bad very quickly. So quarterly taxes are worth figuring out. I definitely have a program to help with that, like FYI, but they are worth getting on top of and figuring out because they're actually your friend. You pay penalties if you don't do them. And I think for everybody just coming up, that April 15th tax deadline is a double deadline. It is when your 2025 tax bill has to get settled up. There's no extensions. That's it. Bill is due April 15th. But it's also the deadline for your first payment for your 2026 quarterly taxes. So it's just good to have that awareness now ahead of that deadline, because a lot of people experience a real like heart-stopping cash flow crunch around April 15th. And the other reason that I really want to kind of put that on people's radar as they're, as we're getting closer to that April 15th tax deadline is because the person you tend to not pay when you run out of cash at that moment is yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because that's also the deadline to fund your IRA or your SEP IRA. And please, everyone listening, if you have one habit you do every year to just put the safety belt on, the oxygen mask on yourself so that you can treat yourself as generously as you treat your clients and friends and family, fund your IRA to the max or the max that you're capable of every single year, and make sure that money is in investments. Low cost index funds, not financial advice, but
yeah. And you're talking about a traditional IRA, not a Roth, right?
Whatever. I actually am completely agnostic. There are people who, Susie Orman will tell you, she's, big financial person. She says, you should only do a Roth. And I think, use whatever one floats your boat. To be totally honest, the bigger
Mhm.
issue, are you maxing it out? If you are,
Right.
then I'm not gonna quibble with which one you pick.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and you can do both. Like I do traditional because it lowers my taxable income, right?
Mhm.
But understanding there are restrictions on when I can access that money, and my husband does a Roth.
That's
Yeah.
You
great.
can do whatever
Mhm.
works. So yeah.
And you can toggle back and forth. You can do Roth one year and you can do traditional another year. So you can go back and forth. So you can have one of each type of account, and one year you fund one year you fund the other. You can honestly split the difference between them if you want to. But there's some strategy, and it also, not only does it give you that sort of option on the putting the money in end, it also gives you that option on the taking the money out end, because
Right.
Roth IRA withdrawal rules are much more easy
Mhm.
than traditional IRA rules, because you've already paid the taxes. They don't have to hunt you down for that.
Mhm.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're just like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's yours. Go ahead. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
So,
quick question for you, Hannah, as
yeah.
this might apply to a lot of our listeners. I don't know. So I started out as a freelance graphic designer, or that's kind of how I've been categorizing myself. So I'm
Yeah.
a graphic designer who does freelance work, and now I do licensing and other stuff too. But people 1099 me. I typically have multiple 1099s a year. And up until now, I've just been doing my annual taxes, and I put graphic designer, and I do owe money, but I am not, so rich that I'm owing anywhere near $80,000 or even $1,000. And because part of that is because my expenses are pretty big. I try to spend a
Mhm.
lot of money on my business because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you know what? It'll just take off what I owe anyway. But for somebody who is, I just hired a CPA, and I'm like, probably I should, I don't want to pay penalties, and I probably should start doing quarterly taxes. I mentioned this to my CPA. I said, so shouldn't I be switching from somebody who does this once a year to, like, having you help me with this and doing estimated quarterly taxes? And they're like, well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Let's do your first tax return and stuff. But how do you transition from that? Because I don't want to pay penalties, and I definitely don't want a huge unexpected tax bill every year. Do I
Yeah.
need to change my categorization or something? Or
No, it's all about dollars. It doesn't make a difference what category of business you are. So that's not related.
Mhm.
I think you're fine in that code. You could, if you feel like you have reason to move codes, that would be okay, but unrelated. The rule is, so you can actually find the answer to this if you want to go pull out your tax return from last year. You can go take that page that has your signature on it. Line 37 on that page is your amount you owe.
Mhm.
That's like, and if you think about what the amount you owe actually represents, like, if you're in a world where we're meant to be paying our taxes as we go through the year, your tax return sets up an equation of your total tax minus the payments you've made throughout the year, whether through W-2 withholding or quarterly tax payments or a combination of both. So all payments are credited to you. And whatever's left over is either your refund or what you owe, right? If you
Hmm.
overpaid the tax you owe, you get money back. And if you underpaid the tax you owe, you still owe more. So if you still owe more, it shows up on line 37, and that's called amount you owe. And if that line is greater than $1,000, you have to pay quarterly taxes. That's the threshold.
Oh, all right. Well, that makes sense, because I think last year I did not owe even $1,000,
Okay.
and I think this year I might,
Okay.
which is why I'm glad I hired a CPA. So good. That was the magic key that I was trying to figure out as to why have I not been doing this, and when do I
Yeah.
need to start? And that's awesome. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, and the spiritual side of that rule, just to sort of the spirit of it, is that you don't want your tax bill, like, the law is written on purpose that way because we don't want the tax bill getting too high. If your
Mhm.
tax bill gets over an amount that would be easy to pay in one payment, we want you to break it up and pay it quarterly. So in
Yeah.
one quarter of that amount. So $1,000. The reason they said it there is because, like, this is a little bit outdated data, but it said that the average US taxpayer would struggle to pay a bill over $1,000.
Yeah.
So that's
But
why.
250 at a time is more manageable, obviously.
More
Okay.
manageable. Exactly.
Okay.
Also,
That makes
just
sense,
like
actually.
to kind of lower the blood pressure on everybody listening on quarterly taxes, although there are penalties, they're pretty small. They're more like a nudge than a shovel to the face. And the quarterly tax paying is much easier than people realize it is. It is just a payment. There's no tax return. So this does not give you like 4 tax returns to file.
That's the other thing I was wondering.
Just a payment. That's it.
Okay.
There is literally, so I have a YouTube channel, Sunlight Tax YouTube channel, and my most popular video, which is hilarious because it's so boring, is a 4-minute video of me paying my quarterly tax payment. So it's just me narrating as I do it. So it's slower than it normally is. And just think about that. It is a 4-minute video and I'm going slow because I'm narrating it, right? That's me making my quarterly tax payment. That's how quickly I do it.
Nice. Well, I'm totally going to go watch that after this.
You should. I mean, literally the reason I made it and the reason it is the most popular video on my channel is because people put that video up, log on, go to irs.gov, and they just screen by screen, they follow along with me and they pay their payment. So
I love that. Yeah. They watch it like 20 times, at least 4 times a year.
At least 4 times a year, right? I want to ask you one more question, and then I'd like us to wrap there. But I know that right now we are in an incredibly political and divisive time in our country. And I know that sometimes people think, well, I'm just not going to pay my taxes in protest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
100%.
God, I'm so naive. I didn't even know people did that. Okay.
I mean, I'm so afraid of going to jail.
Me too. I know. I don't want to get in trouble with the government.
Right?
Yeah.
I
No way am I
remember
going to do that.
like debtor's prison being a real threat and like all of that stuff. And so, so I've always been terrified of it. But since we do have the luxury of your attention right now, Hannah, if you could just spend a couple minutes on why that's probably not a good idea.
So happy to. And please let me keep your listeners out of jail. Yeah, it's terrible. It's ineffective as a protest. So first of all, if you actually care about the cause you say you care about, it does nothing. So why don't you pick something, put your energy towards something useful. It saps your moral authority because you're breaking the law. How are you going to say, oh, this government doesn't follow the law? And then, so anyway, I think that matters. But most importantly, and probably to most of your listeners, or actually, sorry, 3, and then I'll have a 4. 3, it becomes, if you have an authoritarian government or a government sort of tending to punish the opposition, it's the easy excuse. So it very much is the way that they get you. So if we want to get the whole resistance thrown in jail, a tax protest would be the way to do that. So please don't do it because we will lose our fighters, right?
Yeah.
We need you.
Yeah.
But even more so, it costs you a lot of money. So people don't realize that if you file a tax return but can't pay your bill, you get a failure to pay. You don't get a failure to file penalty. You save yourself that, but you do get a failure to pay penalty, and you get interest that grows over time on the amount that you haven't paid. Current rate is 7%, by the way, if you're curious, right?
Ouch.
So if you fail to pay your taxes and fail to file, then you get both of those penalties plus 7% interest. And by the way, it goes up to 25% of your tax bill. So if you owed, $13,500 ish, right? Made $100,000 in profit, you owe $13,500 ish in taxes on that. Your combined penalties just immediately on April 16th would be close to $4,000. And from there, it goes up because you will now have 7% interest. And just think about it. It keeps going until you pay. If you don't pay that for 10 years, that's a fuck ton of interest.
Yeah,
you really owe a lot of money.
And they don't play. They do not.
They don't play.
I made a mistake in how I set up my withholding once. And when the tax, and I never caught it. So whole year, I just was like, oh God, this job pays me great. Right. Because I'm taking home all this extra fucking money. And, didn't realize, never checked, never looked at the withholding, whatever. Went to file my taxes, was like, holy fucking shit. I owed like $8,000 or something like that. Because they weren't withholding it throughout the year. And could not pay it. didn't, was trying to work it out with the IRS, and they garnished every single fucking penny I had.
Oh,
Or not garnished
no.
it, they took it. They just took it out of my bank account. Period.
Oh,
Gone.
my God.
Every dollar I had gone in the space of 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And then I had to I ended up cashing out my what I had access to in my retirement at that point in order to get back on track.
Oh,
but
brutal.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, that's one of the reasons why I was like, I please pay your taxes. This is not the way. That's not the way. Boycott.
Laws should be fair, and we should all follow them. So, the political advocacy is how we get fair laws. When we all check out, we start getting unfair laws. I mean, it's sad. I wish it was an easier answer, but that is the answer. But your economic power is real. It won't using your economic weight is real. This government actually pays attention when markets fall. Those tech billionaire bootlicking assholes, if they're forced to report on drops in subscriptions, they're forced to report on that on their earnings call. So you force them to have to tell their investors that they had a drop in subscriptions, which is why I just canceled my Amazon Prime and my Audible account. And by the way, that was a bit of a sacrifice because I really love my audiobooks.
Yeah.
Although I
go to the library.
The library has a free Libby, this free app. And also I discovered this really awesome indie audio app that is supports local bookstores. You can pick a bookstore and they give money to it every time you buy an audio.
What's it called?
So
What's it called?
Oh shit.
You can tell us and we'll put it in the show notes.
All right. I really want to because I want to give them. I took a screenshot of it and I feel like I need to tell you so that you can, we can put some sunlight on them. Yeah. But resist and unsubscribe is a campaign that's happening right now. It is to show our economic power. So unsubscribe from tech giants and unsubscribe from, there's a list, there's a resist and unsubscribe website. And there's a list of also companies that have government contracts with ICE. And so you can unsubscribe specifically to those. Marriott is housing detainees, made a contract. Yeah. And so I was like, Marriott Bonvoy, I don't want your membership anymore. I canceled that. So there's a lot you can do. That way you are forcing those people to tell on their earnings calls, you're forcing them to tell their shareholders that they had a drop in subscribes and a drop in revenue. And that is real power that we have. So highly advocate using that. Also, please support your local graphic designer. She is not supporting ICE.
Right.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Let's not hurt each other. I mean, I think some people just kind of paint with too broad a brush and think anybody running any business is somehow all the same thing. We are not all the same thing. There's a lot of us doing really good ethical work and we need your help and we cannot live without your support.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Carrie said, if you find that, just send it to us. We'll drop it in the show notes. In the meantime, let us go to the hot seat questions.
Okay.
And Hannah, I am not limiting these to any industry. So however you answer these, but no, they're not industry specific. So I'm actually curious to see what you're going to say to this first one. Least favorite software platform that everyone loves, but you just can't.
I mean, I kind of feel like I have to say TurboTax, or actually, you know what? No, even more so is QuickBooks. QuickBooks is the one. Yeah. I hate Intuit. I hate them. Go read ProPublica reporting to discover all the horrible reasons why I hate them. But they're awful because they charge you very quickly if they make any updates. They don't make updates quickly enough. So you're begging for updates for a long time. And the minute they do, they raise your prices. They hook you in a million ways. And it's just an unethical company that I hate. So I would say it's an industry standard and I wish it wasn't. I use Xero, Xero, and it's wonderful. I love it. Mm-hmm. It's my favorite bookkeeping software.
Good I'm going to tell my husband about that. Cool. Least favorite buzzword that you wish you could erase from everyone's vocabulary.
All right. I have sort of a tax related one. It is you throwing the word itemize around in reference to your business, because that causes this confusion that really hurts people. So I want you to know that tracking your business deductions is great, and please do it. But itemizing is Schedule A, not Schedule C. It's something completely different. Itemized deductions are mortgage interest, charitable contributions, medical expenses, and state and local taxes. Those are itemized deductions. That is itemizing. So you only get to do that if you have those 4 expenses in combination higher than the standard deduction amount, which PS for this tax year is $15,750. So, it's a lot. That's a big charitable contribution. That's a lot. And which is why only 9% of taxpayers itemize. So your accountant may say these words to you, hey, you don't itemize. And what I want you to know when you hear those words, it doesn't mean anything about your business. Your business deductions are still cool, still good.
Okay.
That's why I don't like people using the word itemizing business deductions, because it makes them think those are the same thing, and they're not.
I have been doing that the whole time until this very second. So thank you for telling me. Because I thought, my Adobe software, I itemize that, but I guess that's not the case. So
it's just, itemizing is like a verb that you can use for a thing. You can get an itemized receipt. It's not like you're wrong. It's just that it causes this little brain thing in people where I literally have seen people come to me and be like, oh, my accountant told me I don't get business deductions because I take the standard deduction or because I don't itemize. And I'm like, those are 2 completely unrelated things. And you have just been not taking the deductions you're entitled to for years. So it really hurts people.
Yeah. I agree. I had to figure that out too, because my husband and I file separately. And so I was like, you're not itemizing, are you? Because we have to take the same deduction.
Well, that is true. You're correct on that. That's true.
And if he itemized, I was going to owe over $1,000. I was like, you can't, please. No.
Yeah.
So, but
Married filing separate has those things.
Yeah, and this is kind of separate, but the reason we do it is because they include his income in my student loan payments. And I'm like, he didn't earn it. He didn't go to school. He didn't sign the fucking promissory note, and he's not helping fucking pay it. So why are you including his income? But I had a lovely customer service agent tell me, well, if you don't file jointly, they won't include his income. And from that moment forward, I was like, no more. We don't file together.
That is the best reason to file separately. That usually married filing joint, usually for a sort of high earner, low earner couple, married filing jointly comes out better tax wise. But you are describing the very scenario where it is wiser to do married filing separate.
So I feel good.
Yeah, good job.
Yay. All right. Last question. Least favorite piece of advice you hear floating around our industry?
Oh my gosh. So much bad advice out there about LLCs and S Corps. People have so much confusion about what incorporating is, what makes you official as a company. And I see so many people who get LLCs who don't need them. And even worse, I don't think an LLC that you don't need hurts you too much, except for a filing fee and an annual paperwork. But getting an S Corp you don't need, holy shit, are you signing on for a lot of problems? And I've seen states come after people because they didn't set up the payroll that they're required to. And now you're not paying into your employees' benefits, even though people think you can not pay yourself because your employee is you. The state doesn't see that. The state just sees that you're abusing an employee in that state, and they come and sue you. They come after you. So filing it, those Instagram ads you get served, you could save so much money if you formed an S Corp. You may be paying too much tax, and you could save tax if you filed it. Well, that might be true for you, but you need to do the math. And you need to check that the rules will work in your state. If you're in New York, forget about it. I should have said that in a New York accent. Forget about it. New York taxes back all the benefit of an S Corp. So now you're stuck having to run payroll. Now you're subject to New York State employment law. You can get in huge trouble, and all the tax benefit is taxed right away from you, taxed right back by New York. So it's you have wasted a ton of money. So that, S Corps, LLCs. And if you want that info, come to me.
Absolutely. And we're going to have you tell everybody where to, but I did want to say one thing I heard on one of your podcasts. I tell you, I listened to your podcast. One of the things, and it shocked me because I did not realize this was true. And you were saying, when does the IRS consider you a business? Right. And so I had expectations of what that answer would be, but it was not the moment you advertise yourself, which is what you said. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Are you kidding me? Because I was expecting like some kind of financial thing or whatever. And you're like, nope, the moment you advertise yourself. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that because it shows you advertising is your signal to the world of a profit motive. It is you flipping on the light and saying, I'm open. This is what I offer. Come on in. Right. And it gives you that sort of like, I think it gives you that meaning unlock of what it is to have a business. It's no guarantee a customer will ever walk in the door. Like business is hard. You got to do some stuff, but it is, you do count as a business when you open your doors and, you know, best of luck. Best of luck.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I think we're going to call that a wrap. And Hannah, I absolutely want you to tell everybody how to find you and how to support you.
Oh, thank you. I love that. You know what? I need it because people really are deciding not to pay their taxes. Like my business is actually suffering because of this.
I had no idea. That didn't even cross my mind.
No, I mean, it's because my people are so awesome that they're very politically engaged, but I sort of feel like, can we redirect this energy somewhere it's not going to hurt you guys?
Yeah. Cutting off your nose to spite your face, not a good idea.
I know.
Yeah.
Who jail and lots and thousands of dollars of penalties. Let's not do it. Let's all boycott the tech bros. Okay, so where you can find me, sunlighttax.com, my website is where it's like the hub for everything. So I've got, let's see, 3 different levels at which I can serve you and would love to. 1, I have a visual guide to tax deductions. That is free. Everybody can get that. It's just a download, opt-in download on my website. It's beautiful, and it really tells you exactly what you can deduct in the language that you use, and it translates it to exactly where it goes on your tax return. It's super helpful. So definitely get that. Also, my podcast is free, the Sunlight Tax Podcast. Next level is I have a book and a workbook, and I just built the back end finally so that you can, if you can buy them anywhere you buy, Taxes for Humans, amazing tax guide. I wrote it to be the guide I wished I'd had when I got out of art school. It really tells you how to do your own taxes, but it tells you all the good stuff like how to fund your IRA and amazing stuff like that. So that book, if you can get it at any bookstore you like, please support an independent one. But if you buy it from me, I have really juicy bonuses. I have some free classes I will give you and some like instant downloads, including my updated for 2026 tax organizer, which is like solid gold. So if you want those things, go to the book link on the Sunlight Tax website. And then at the highest level, I have a program called Money Bootcamp where I do accountability sessions every quarter to help everybody, answer questions about how to pay your quarterly taxes. We do it right before the tax deadline, so it is lined up so that you get your taxes in. It includes a tool of a tax calendar that links you into trainings that I have made for the things that are relevant at that time of year. So the whole program is built for accountability. It's not just like a bunch of courses that you feel guilty you're not watching. It's a calendar that shows you, oh, now is the time to watch the 1099s training because your deadline is in a week. Now is the time to start your bookkeeping because the quarterly deadline is in 2 weeks. So, and here's the training to show you how. So it's really nicely built so that it keeps kind of moving with you, and it's lifetime access. So that program is Money Bootcamp. And there's a big yellow button when you come to sunlighttax.com that says, check out Money Bootcamp, so you can find it there.
Thank you. Yeah. Excuse me. Money Bootcamp is totally #goals for me. I know how much revenue I need to be bringing in to be able to afford the program. Because I refuse to use my salary for business, like for the art business. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying not to have my salary pay for things. So like I'm growing my business so that I can afford, because I want to be in your course. But buy her book, everybody.
Yeah.
Buy her book. You're buying a million other things. Buy her book.
Yeah. And the free like tax guide, the visual guide really is like, I was very impressed with how easy it was for me to understand because I don't understand a lot of how this stuff works, or it's just confusing. And my brain kind of like shuts down when you just start giving me like numbers and text and giving me abstract legal terms. And I'm like, whatever, I'm walking away. But this was a good way to like kind of digest like how everything works. So I found it incredibly helpful, and it's free. So
yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I live to just make my explanations visual and easy. That's what I really want. So like one of the bonuses, if you buy the book from my website, the instant bonus course that you get is me doing this like tax Pictionary to show you how all your income fits together visually. And so it's like me with a whiteboard and then showing you how to use it as a tax review, but it's visual for, we're visual people. So I really am proud of it. It's very awesome and useful. So
excellent.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Hannah.
Such a pleasure. I love, it's so fun to chat with you both. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Well, we love having you on the show, and you are welcome anytime you want to be on the show.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you're loving this podcast, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And while you're at it, we'd love it if you could rate and review us. Your support helps more people discover the show, and it keeps us going strong. Thanks for tuning in. It means a lot. I'm Tony.
And I'm Carrie. It's okay to be cranky.
In the meantime, keep creating. Two Cranky Creatives is produced by me, Tony Federico, and my co-host, Carrie Cantwell. Carrie handles sound editing, I wrangle marketing and communications, and together we keep this cranky train on the tracks. Thanks for listening.